They moved me to Unit 19 where R. Kelly was at. He opened up to me about a lot of the inner workings in the music industry. Basically admitted that he sold his soul. And Jay-Z hired a hitman to me, and I did get shot.
What are the reasons that he's saying Jay-Z should be incarcerated?
Similar allegations to what Diddy's locked up for. My name is Ronnie Bo. I had a career in music until I got incarcerated back in 2010. I was reviewed on the top 40 charts for Lil Wayne and Young Money stealing one of my songs. Then once I got locked up, I kind of lost my passion for rap and started writing books. I started writing about how music influenced the minds of the youth, and I kind of lost my passion for rap because it's like I was rapping about the same things that influenced me.
How do you end up connecting with R. Kelly? Was it the previous prison stint, or have you gotten out since then?
June of 2019, I had to turn myself in because I produced a rap song entitled Whack the Rats, and I actually mentioned a real federal informant in the song. So
it's a bad idea.
Yeah, the government basically issued a U.S. Marshal warrant out for me. I turned myself in to MCC Chicago. R. Kelly got indicted, and he ended up in MCC Chicago with me. I wanted to write a book on the behalf of R. Kelly to get his side of the story, like to basically counter the narrative of surviving R. Kelly, which was a docuseries on a Lifetime. I mean, they moved me to Unit 19 where R. Kelly was at. So at that point, I was able to communicate with him every day and negotiate, doing a book with him every day. We kind of became friends or associates or whatever you want to call it. He opened up to me about a lot of the inner workings in the music industry. He basically confirmed that he, I really don't want to say it because I promised his brother Bruce Kelly and other family members of R. Kelly that I wouldn't speak on certain things, but he basically admitted that he sold his soul, and he tried to deliver that message to his fans in the music video, I Wish. It's a skit in his song, I Wish. Not the remix, but the one he did by himself. And in the skit, his mom is deceased, and in the skit, he was speaking to his mom from the sky, looking up, saying, "Ma, I want out of this, but it's hard." And she replied from the sky that, "What worth is it for a man to conquer the whole world but lose his own soul?" Which is a quote from the Bible. He was trying to indirectly let his fans and the public know that I got myself involved in something that I didn't know I was getting myself into, and technically sold his soul, and he wanted out.
Can I ask a question? When you say sold your soul, that can mean different things, like sold your soul to the industry, sold your soul to the devil, sold your soul to who?
Most people think it's conspiracy theory, but according to R. Kelly, the top executives in the music industry actually really practice evil things such as devil worship and selling your soul, and you technically have to sign your name in blood and do some certain humiliation rituals for them to trust you. I mean, they, for example, a sex tape came out about R. Kelly around 2001 or 2002, somewhere around that time. And he was allegedly on a sex tape with a 14-year-old girl that he was peeing on.
Yeah.
And I learned that was actually a humiliation ritual. They doped them. For example, Diddy has certain chemicals in his baby oil. You can rub this on somebody and they could get high from them. They can become sedated by this. And sometimes they might put something in your drink, or they could touch you with something or rub something on you, and you're not in your right mind. And then they have certain people seduce you. I really don't want to say that he told me this himself because of certain reasons, but basically he had to do certain humiliation rituals, and he was sedated, so he didn't know what he was doing, but it was recorded. So the way that these executives work, they will have you do something like this whether you're aware of what you're doing or not, and record it and say, well, if you don't comply with this agenda, then we will expose you to the public and ruin your life. We can lock you up. We can bring all type of lawsuits on you. We can take your catalog and basically ruin your whole life and your whole career. However, if you comply with us in this agenda, then we'll make sure you stay successful and at the top of your game. And despite what people believe about R. Kelly, but he tried to be a stand-up guy and he didn't want to comply with certain things. Certain people like Jay-Z are in total compliance with these people. Like Diddy was in compliance with him. He was a federal informant and he was conducting certain humiliation rituals and having other celebrities and artists do the same thing. And the moment he tried to step outside of the boundaries that they set for him and sued some very rich, powerful people, then it's like, okay, well, we put you in this position and now we're going to show you we can take you out of this position. And they did the same thing with R. Kelly, basically.
I'm wondering, so the Diddy thing, that the allegation is that he sued a liquor company that's actually owned by like BlackRock or something like that, or
Yeah.
and that upset them, and so they went after him, right? And what did Art Kelly do where you're saying he stepped out and said, hey, I'm not going to be a part of this? What was his specific thing? Did he do something specific, or did he just say, I'm not going to be a part of this anymore?
Yeah, he didn't want to be a part of the behind the scene activities that go on in Hollywood. And he tried to be a stand-up guy, as I just mentioned, and he basically didn't want to comply with the agenda, and then he went as far as, just like Diddy's situation, when it boils down to it, it's about money. And in our R. Kelly situation, he found out that he was worth 1.2 billion. He wrote songs for Michael Jackson and other major artists in the music industry, and that's not even including all the hits that he had. So he was basically the most valuable individual in the music industry at the time. But although he was technically supposed to be worth, his net worth was supposed to be like $1.2 billion, he realized, well, I'm barely a millionaire. So he wanted to renegotiate his contracts and get what he felt like he earned. And once that happened, then it's like, okay, well, you probably don't remember this, but we recorded you having sex with that girl, and you might not know that she was 14 years old. But at the end of the day, we have this tape. So either you're going to comply or we're going to expose you and lock you up. And that's what they attempted to do at the time. He somehow beat the case back then, but even if you get a victory win certain battles against them, like it's a war with them, and you can win battles, but they looking at it like, okay, you think you got away with that, but we'll eventually get you again. And
yeah, you may have won the battle, but we'll win the war.
Absolutely. And basically that's exactly what happened. They started basically turning the public and his fans against him with all type of allegations, especially when the Surviving R. Kelly docuseries came out. They basically painted the picture that he was a monster and he abusing women and locking them in cages and basements and mistreating them. And so he lost the support of the public from that. And so once they seen that, well, you don't have nobody to support you anymore, people looking at you like you a creep, a monster, now we can bring these charges upon and everybody gonna believe you guilty. The jury is likely gonna find you guilty because 9 times out of 10 they probably watch Surviving R. Kelly too. So in their minds, you already guilty.
So how long were you locked up with it? Did you end up writing this book? Did you end up writing the entire book? Like, what happened there? I mean, you're in the unit with him. How's that progressing? Like, are you guys meeting every day? You taking notes? Like, what happens with that?
Well, I was only on a unit with him for 30 days, but within that time, I got a lot of information out of him, but he still didn't want to sign the agreement. I just found out through Jaguar Wright that not only was he writing music, but he was writing like movie scripts and stuff like that. And he told me basically, I want to write my own story, my own book. I want to put out a movie about this. And if I sign this agreement with you, then I basically just gave you the rights to do what I want to do for myself. So he didn't want to do it. And then it was rumors circulating around the jail that it actually started off as jokes, like people saying that Ronnie Bo trying to extort R. Kelly into a contract. And then the joke became rumors, and then the rumors got to the correction officers and the security staff. So they started looking at me like, we got to watch you now. And they eventually separated me from Unit 19 where R. Kelly was at. And I went to Unit 23 at MCC Chicago, and we kind of lost touch, but I was still able to send him kites through certain people. He was able to send me kites through certain people. So we were still in communication, but it was difficult to communicate with him after that point because of the separation.
So were you able to write the book?
Well, I still wrote a book based on things that he told me, and I actually published that book a couple of months ago. And it's more in depth than just R. Kelly. The book is entitled Challenging the Illuminati. And I put a lot of work in that book. It took me blood, sweat, and tears of experience to be able to have the mindset to write the book. I literally spent thousands on information that I put in the book. It's actually available now on Amazon, and I set the price at $100 because the information in there is so valuable. Like, it's worth it. Anybody who read it will see that it's worth it, and it's untold stories. People will learn exactly what my relations to R. Kelly was in the book. But speaking of that, I've actually, although I made it for sale on Amazon, I actually been giving it out to fans for free. And in my last few interviews, I explained to the audience that since I've been going viral about the things I know about the music industry and certain people in the industry, just so happened by coincidence or conspiracy, they keep restricting my pages. So it's been hard for people to follow me and keep up with me. So I actually gave out my number in my last few interviews, and I want to do that again, which is the number is 414-810-9090. And anybody who texts or calls for the book, I'm going to send you the ebook for free. It's available on Amazon for $100, but for your audience, the people who are subscribed to you, they comment, like, and send me a text saying, well, I'm subscribed to Matthew Cox Show, and I'm going to send everybody the ebook for free. And it's definitely a lot of information in there, and it's a lot going on that will intrigue people to actually read that book.
All right. So, I mean, we can also put your phone number and your email in the description.
Okay.
In the description box. Did R. Kelly tell you anything about like Jay-Z? Like, how does the Jay-Z situation tie into this? Because I mean, I read the police report and I watched one of the other interviews. So I'm wondering about that.
Well, at the time, Jay-Z started becoming the face of hip hop after the death of Tupac and Notorious Big. And the music executives in that industry realized the impact that music, especially rap music, the impact that it can have on the minds of the general public, society, especially the youth. So they put Jay-Z in position to influence and mislead the culture. And these are some of the things that was confirmed by Kelly. Even with R. Kelly, they wanted him to basically focus on producing songs that stimulate sexual desires. They didn't like when he was putting out songs like I Believe I Can Fly or inspirational songs like I Wish in Heaven I Need a Hug, because they wanted to influence the public to be over sexualized and have a bunch of babies by random women, which basically destabilize the household. When you got multiple kids and you're not in the household with either of these kids, the kids just they need a mother and a father in the household. So that will cause them to grow up misguided, misled, and that's a part of the agenda in the music industry. Now with Jay-Z, with him like glorifying the street lifestyle, selling drugs, being a major dope boy, and buying the most expensive brands, Cartiers and Cristal, the things that he was putting in his music, that type of stuff motivates the society to want to sell drugs, especially the urban culture people who come from the inner cities, poverty, the ghetto, you call it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we look up to the dope boys. We want to be like them. And then that leads us to either prison or death. And that's the agenda. That's what they want the music to do to society. So they basically use Jay-Z. Well, they basically use R. Kelly to put Jay-Z in a bigger spotlight because R. Kelly was a global public figure. I mean, like, he wasn't just big in the United States, but he was big in Africa. He performed at the Olympics. Jay-Z had a limited fan base. So they felt like, okay, if we can put him in R. Kelly spotlight, then we can make him even more influential. And even his relationship with Beyonce, that was like a planned and staged relationship because Beyonce, she reached a way broader audience than Jay-Z could reach with rap music and talking about selling drugs. So it also make people idolize him more because it's like, wow, he's successful. He got the most beautiful woman in Hollywood, the most beautiful woman in the music industry or whatever. Like, so he's a role model now. Like, and that made more people feel like, well, if I'm gonna be the man, I gotta have more money than everybody else, and I gotta have the most beautiful woman. Like, people don't really, in my culture, they don't really base their relationships on morals and values and having a good, loyal woman. It's like, I just want a beautiful woman. You know what I mean? A sexy woman, so everybody can look at me like I'm the man. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's obvious the way that could affect people's social lives.
And this, you found this out during the interview with R. Kelly?
These were some of the discussions I had with R. Kelly while being in federal prison with him. A lot of these things I was already writing about in my books, you know, but I guess you can say that it was basically just pure conspiracy theory at first. But then after meeting R. Kelly, a lot of those things were confirmed, things that I was already writing about and speculating and theorizing about was confirmed that, wow, this really does go on in the music industry.
All right. So you were there 30 days. You had these discussions. Eventually, how long did you do in jail before you got out? Or was it, oh, sorry, it was a detention center?
Yeah, MCC Chicago is called the Metropolitan Correctional Center of Chicago, and that's like the federal holding facility for federal inmates in that district.
Is it something, did they only hold federal or do they hold federal and just federal?
Yes, for federal inmates.
All right.
It's
Okay.
listed it's listed in the Bureau of Prison as a federal prison.
Oh, okay. So it's prison. All right. What I'm saying, because like some of these county jails will have a special unit just for federal inmates. So I was wondering if it was a holding facility or if it was actually a prison. So you're saying it was a Bureau of Prison.
Yeah, it's a prison basically for pretrial federal inmates.
Okay.
Once you get your time, then they send you to a FCI or USP. But yeah, MCC is basically like a holding detention center for federal inmates until they actually are convicted and sent off to somewhere else.
So once you were moved, how much more time did you do until you got out?
Well, I was in MCC Chicago with R. Kelly for 21 months. I was only on a unit with him for 30 days, but within that 21 months, I was still there, able to communicate with him and by other means. But once I got sentenced, they sent me to Gilmer, West Virginia, where DMX was locked up at, and Big Meech's brother Southwest T was also locked up there in Gilmer, West Virginia.
So, all right, but when do you get out?
I got out in August of 2021. So
All right.
I've been out about 3 years now. And since I've been going viral about the talks I had with R. Kelly and things of that nature, I'm pretty sure you looked at some of the YouTube videos that insinuates that Jay-Z hired a hitman to kill me, and I did get shot around that time, and a lot of the bloggers were speculating that Jay-Z had something to do with it. And I also want to address a issue that a lot of these bloggers I found out to be working with the CIA and the FBI, and they try to get people like me to say certain things on these platforms that can incriminate us. And that leads to investigations, and these interviews could be used in court. Our music lyrics could be used in court now. And I've been dealing with that a lot. Like, it's like recently Jaguar Wright did an interview on Piers Morgan show, and she was talking about uh, some of the information that her and I both share on the Piers Morgan show. And then Jay-Z reached out to Piers Morgan through his lawyers and had Piers Morgan delete the video before it went viral. And they actually tried to sue Piers Morgan for these things. My situation is very similar, but I haven't went mainstream yet, so I don't think
In
Jay.
that in that case, like Morgan actually he made it like a public apology, didn't he?
Yeah, he made a public apology to Jay-Z. Like, for example, if this interview with you and I go viral, Jay-Z gonna reach out to you and ask you to take it down and threaten to sue you. Like, he reached out to a lot of other bloggers and had many of my interviews taken down, but it wasn't publicized. And recently, I've been getting calls from FBI agents, and they they basically been, it's like they trying to get me to admit or insinuate that Jay-Z has something to do with me getting shot. And
Well,
I don't know if that's because they trying to use me to put Jay-Z in a Diddy situation or what. But the thing is,
we talk a lot about crime on this show, but let's face it, some of the biggest crimes are committed by the government. You've heard the story before. Big Pharma swoops in to take control. Now, the FDA is trying to reclassify NMN, a natural compound in foods like broccoli and avocados, as a pharmaceutical drug. Why? Because NMN is so effective, they want to turn it into a pricey drug, keeping its health benefits out of the reach of most people. It's likely they're setting the stage for Big Pharma to profit, making it hard for us to access something that could dramatically support our life. The truth is, I lost over a decade in federal prison, so I want to stay as healthy as long as possible. I'm 55 years old, and I'm not ready to slow down. I stay active, eat right, and do all the things that we're supposed to do, but that only gets you so far. That's when I started looking for an NMN supplement, something backed by real science. After some research, I found Cell Being by Verso. It's loaded with NMN, resveratrol, and TMG. These ingredients work together and are proven to boost your NAD levels, which basically is the fuel that powers the trillions of cells in your body. I've been taking Cell Being for a while now, and I've noticed a huge change. I feel sharper, more energized, and just younger. While NMN was recognized as a safe supplement, the FDA made a decision that will make it harder for you and me to get this powerful compound unless we're willing to pay pharmaceutical prices. It makes you wonder who's really benefiting from this change. Don't wait until it's too late to support your body with something that could change the way you age. Click the link in the description box or head over to Verso, ver.so, and use the promo code Cox for 15% off your first order. Get it while you still can and take control of your health before the FDA and Big Pharma take it out of your hands.
if I was to admit or confirm that I went to Brooklyn, New York to do a publicity stunt, because Allegedly, well, you have the documents from a government website. I'm pretty sure you did your research, and the documents say that a confidential informant told the FBI that I went to Marcy Projects in Brooklyn, New York, where Jay-Z grew up at, to do a publicity stunt and to shoot a video dissing Jay-Z. These are the allegations, which I'm not gonna admit to because I actually have a revocation hearing coming up in February, and if those allegations are proven, the judge said that they gonna send me back to federal prison. So
Okay. Well, wait a minute. Why would they send you back to federal prison for doing a publicity of any kind?
because for one, I didn't get permission to
Okay.
travel
You left the
to.
jurisdiction.
Yes, I didn't get permission for that. And again, these are allegations. I can't confirm anything publicly because it'd be used against me. But
Because
alleged,
so you're currently on federal probation,
yeah,
right? The probation is they're trying to violate your probation and send you back to jail because they're saying you left the jurisdiction without permission for some publicity stunt. Okay.
yes,
Just
and I
not,
was allegedly involved in a crime, even though I'm the victim. I was involved in a crime. Like I allegedly got shot in Marcy Projects, and allegedly the CS, the confidential informant, is trying to tie Jay-Z into it. He's saying that he found out that Tyron Smith, who was known as Ty, was Jay-Z's close associate, is the one who paid the assassin or the shooter to shoot me. So they trying to tie this back to Jay-Z and saying that Jay-Z is trying to get me killed for exposing the things that I revealed, which I learned from R. Kelly. But
so
again, these are allegations.
what are those things that Art Kelly told you that basically that he may be in prison for certain things, but Jay-Z should be there too? Something like that?
Absolutely. And the fact of the matter is that Jay-Z actually works with a former DEA informant by the name of Desiree Perez. That's his co-CEO. And she was a known DEA informant. And this is his partner who he worked closely with. So my thing is that I believe that Jay-Z is an informant based on that particular situation and also based on things that R. Kelly confirmed. Like he is a high-ranking informant, and they will keep him confidential. And he basically a puppet. He's with carrying out certain agendas to influence minds to do foolish things, risk your freedom selling drugs and things of that nature. Just as they pushed Dirk. Dirk wanted to make more inspirational music himself, but they basically was telling Lil Durk, look, rap beef is selling. We need you to keep talking about who you killed and sliding on your ops and all that because they know that type of stuff is going to influence the minds of society to feel like it's honorable to be able to say I killed somebody and got away with it.
So
And
what else? What else did Jay-Z tell you? Like, what is Jay-Z? I'm sorry. What is Art Kelly saying? What are the reasons that he's saying Jay-Z should be incarcerated specifically? Like, is there anything specific he was saying, or was it just a random statement? Like, yeah, I'm locked up, but Jay-Z should be too. Well, okay, for what?
well, look, Leah was allegedly 15 when she allegedly married R. Kelly and was allegedly having sex with R. Kelly. But it's like the public failed to realize or forgot that Jay-Z was also involved with Aaliyah while she was underage, and he was involved with Foxy Brown. One of his first biggest hits was with Foxy Brown, and she was 15 while Jay-Z was 27. And he was allegedly having sex with Foxy Brown while they were saying that R. Kelly was having sex with Aaliyah. And that incident, it just shows that R. Kelly situation is bigger than him being a creep, because we learning that now that Diddy was a creep, Jay-Z was a creep, but it's reasons why Jay-Z not locked up. He's in compliance with the agenda, and they gonna keep him in position until they find somebody else that can take his place and lead the culture better than he could. And I feel like they doing that with Young Thug right now. Young Thug actually just basically beat his Rico, and when he came out with Rich Homie Quan, Young Thug was wearing dresses, wearing lipstick, getting his fingernails painted, and walking around like a bisexual or a gay man. And that's not supposed to be accepted in our culture. However, at this point now, the culture is looking at Young Thug like one of the biggest gangsters ever. So that's another agenda. I don't have nothing against gay people, but the LGBTQ community is established for a reason, and they getting all type of rights. It's really population control. Like, they don't want people having babies, so they feel like if they could make most of the population turn gay, then a man can't have a baby by another man.
Right. So these are the kinds of things that you're saying about Jay-Z. I mean, not the dresses and everything, but I'm saying, so you were talking, these are the things that you were saying about Jay-Z, and that's the reason that the informant is saying he put a hit out on you?
Yeah, for exposing Jay-Z. Like, Jay-Z knows he was on tour with R. Kelly. They was working together closely, and Jay-Z know that R. Kelly, a lot of things about him that if R. Kelly had the audacity or the courage to reveal, then Jay-Z could be also locked up, just like R. Kelly was locked up for similar allegations, and similar allegations to what Diddy's locked up for. So it just indicates that it's the reason why Jay-Z is put in power. Like, even with the Super Bowl, he in charge of the entertainment for the Super Bowl. He could choose whatever artist he want to headline the halftime show at the Super Bowl. And he was getting a lot of backlash for choosing Kendrick Lamar over Lil Wayne, because the Super Bowl is gonna be in New Orleans this year. And Lil Wayne is from New Orleans, and Lil Wayne is one of the biggest artists in hip hop history. So the culture and the public felt like Lil Wayne should have been able to headline the Super Bowl, because either last year or the year before, they did the Super Bowl in California, and they let all California-based artists perform at the halftime show and headline the halftime show. So Jay-Z is very powerful, and he was put in position by certain people who have a certain agenda, and he's aware that I know certain things about him, and if it exposed, it could possibly ruin his reputation. And this dude supposed to be worth $2.5 billion, and the people behind him are very super rich, worth a lot more than Jay-Z is worth, and have more power in politics and society than anybody. So the people behind him wouldn't want me publicizing certain things about Jay-Z as well. So some of the things that has been publicized in these YouTube videos and in the media about Jay-Z allegedly hiring people to kill me, it's probably some truth to that. And I just can't go off into too many details about it, because again, I have a revocation hearing coming up, and it was recently filed in federal court that the confidential informant alleged that I went to Marcy Projects to conduct a publicity stunt, and that Jay-Z and his associates knew about this, and to stop or prevent the publicity stunt, they tried to either kill me or send a warning shot. I got shot in the shoulder, but it could have easily hit my heart if I wasn't moving a certain way.
So,
It,
all right. So look, wherever you were at, you were somewhere where where the informant says that Jay-Z knew you were going to be and hired someone to kill you. So, how far away was this person? Did you see the person? Like, what was happening when you got shot? You just walking down the street, or you're standing in a parking lot and you just boom took a
yeah,
bullet? How far
we,
away is this guy?
I didn't see where it came from. And again, like, I was allegedly in Brooklyn, New York. Like, I can't confirm anything on a public platform, but did you look up and read the court documents about this?
Yeah, but you're saying you're going with allegedly. So I'm saying, and I understand that. I'm not asking you to say like where you were standing. I'm saying were you in a parking lot somewhere? So you were somewhere and you're doing something and boom, you get shot. So what is do you know who the informant is?
I don't. And he's listed in the court documents as a confidential informant. It just says CS1, which means confidential source. And I definitely don't know who it is. And I really think, like, in my indictment, a DEA agent, again by the name of Timothy Gray, I won't mention the informant because I could be violated. They have some type of protective order on the informant, and I can't legally mention his name, but they had this dude making up false allegations about me that I was indicted on. And it was actually,
This is another informant.
yeah, and it's similar to this situation though. Like, the my indictment was based on statements from DEA confidential informant who was actually a friend of mine at the time. I just can't say his name. But he made false allegations about me to this DEA special agent Tim Gray, and I was indicted on those allegations. And those allegations were actually false. I actually beat this all the serious allegations, and it was documented. Like, the Department of Justice themselves documented that special agent Tim Gray of the DEA falsified documents and fabricated evidence, not just against me, but other people. His own officers turned against him and said, yeah, that he was really doing this. And now the situation with Jay-Z, the court documents are insinuating that they somehow know that Jay-Z is tied to me getting shot. So it appears that they trying to get me to tell on Jay-Z and get him locked up. However, if I was to corroborate and admit to any of these things, then I would be in violation. So when I go back to court February 4th, I could be sent back to federal prison by admitting, yes, I went to Marcy Projects where Jay-Z grew up at to do a publicity stunt. And yes, I got shot there, and I didn't report none of this to my parole officer. So again, like, people could read between the lines, but I have to say allegedly.
So is the FBI looking into the informant and his allegations?
They still investigating the matter as we speak. It's an ongoing investigation, and the federal agents who reach out to me, they making it seem like, well, you didn't do anything wrong. You the victim. You're not in trouble. We just want you to admit that you went to Marcy Projects to conduct a publicity stunt for your music video, and while there you were shot, and they want me to admit that I was receiving death threats from people from Jay-Z camp. Like, this is information that a lot of bloggers have been publicizing lately. But again, I just, maybe once I'm discharged from papers, conduct another interview with you. Maybe I'll fly out to Tampa this time and do a hands-on interview with you. But at this point, I can only speak on the these allegations as allegations. Like I really can't afford to confirm anything now publicly because my freedom is on the line. But at the end of the day, uh, Jay-Z knows that I know certain things, and Jaguar Wright, she's one of the biggest conspiracy theorists on the internet right now. And she actually reached out to me a couple nights ago and directly behind the scenes warned me that I'm going to be watched by the CIA, the FBI, and that Jay-Z want me either dead or in jail to prevent me from speaking out. They trying to silence me just as they have been trying to silence her.
As a confidential source who's in possession of information from Jay-Z, which is stating that he knew you were going to be, did he know prior to you being shot, or after you were shot, he's saying he came into this information?
Yeah, he's saying he knew about the whole play. He's telling the feds that he knew that I had intentions to go to Brooklyn, New York, and Jay-Z's, the neighborhood that Jay-Z grew up in, to do a publicity stunt, basically troll and provoke and taunt Jay-Z. That's what the publicity stunt was allegedly for. And he's telling the FBI agents that he also have information and proof that the shooter was hired by a close friend of Jay-Z who is listed in these federal court documents as Tyrone Ty Smith.
So this confidential source, the informant, he has to be in Jay-Z's camp to know this information. He's got to be close to have gotten that information and had enough detail that he could contact the authorities. He obviously didn't contact the authorities prior to it happening, or they would have been able to go there and stop it.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering why, if they've given you any, when the FBI came to see you, did they give you any indication as to why he didn't come forward first? Like, if I have this information, I know a guy's about to be killed, and I'm working with the feds, I'm going to go to the feds immediately and say, yo, they're sending somebody to murder this dude. Like, why did that not happen? Or did they tell you, or it didn't come up?
Well, as documented in his the recent statement that was filed in federal court, the incident that they referring to allegedly happened last year, May 30th, 2023, is when I allegedly went to Marcy Projects, where Jay-Z was raised, to do a publicity stunt. So I'm thinking the same way you thinking. I'm thinking that he was also a part of Jay-Z camp, and that they trying to use him not only to incriminate Jay-Z, but also to send me back to the feds, because I went to court October 3rd for these allegations. And matter of fact, the hearing was for other allegations. The hearing was actually for allegations that I pistol whipped somebody, and that my daughter's mom allegedly told them that I'm still selling drugs. So that's what I went to court for October 3rd. But after that, at the hearing, that is, the judge said, if you come back to court on February 4th, I'm going to give you 120 days. If you come back with any more allegations, then I have to send you back to the feds. So after that, that's when this confidential source supposedly went to federal authorities saying, well, I have allegations that he traveled outside of his jurisdiction to do a publicity stunt, and he was actually shot there. And he basically saying he knows who did it, as if he was a part of that circle, some part of Jay-Z circle.
So after you were shot, I'm assuming you weren't allegedly shot, you were shot. You were shot. You said you were shot in the shoulder. Like, I mean, did you go to the hospital?
Yes.
Why didn't doesn't the hospital typically, when someone's been shot, notify the police?
Well, see, I didn't go to a New York base hospital for certain reasons. And as I stated in the court documents, I wasn't in Brooklyn. I have to stick to that story,
I understand.
And I didn't go.
We don't have to get into that. Like let's I'm just saying in general, you did go to a hospital and you were, and so the police were notified, but they couldn't, they didn't know about all this other stuff. So you just said, what? Somebody just, I was walking down the street and someone shot me.
Basically.
Okay. And so there's nobody to really look for. They write up a little report. That's it. It doesn't go anywhere. You can't give them any information because you don't have a clue who shot you. Yeah. Okay. I'm just curious. I'm not trying to get you jammed up or anything. Okay. So I wonder where the FBI's investigation into this guy, like this guy wouldn't have come forward and talked to them about this whole thing. He has to tell them how he knows the information. He has to, if he's close to them, like you would think they would, either he was already an informant, or after or during this whole process, he decides I need to say something. And at some point you would think they would say, listen, like if you feel like if he's not working with them already, they would definitely convince him to work for him. Because if you go and you tell the police something like this, you've already made the decision. I'm all in. I'm going to go to the authorities. I'm going to tell them exactly what happened. You have to know the authorities aren't going to say, hey, thanks, good citizen, and let you walk away. They're going to say, well, how do you do this? Oh, really? You're friends with Jay-Z's whatever, and you were at the party, or you were hanging out at his house and you were there during the conversation, or you're very good friends with him. Listen, we need to get him on a wire. We can give you a cell phone. We can give you this. Is there any way you can kind of hang out and get him on tape talking about this? Even if it's not Jay-Z, it's his friend that maybe he didn't hear it from Jay-Z. Maybe he heard it from his buddy who hired the hitman, the horrible hitman, because he couldn't finish his job. So he's obviously not a great hitman. So, but your bottom of the barrel hitman that was hired by Jay-Z's buddy, then even if he doesn't, the confidential source doesn't know Jay-Z or wasn't there during that conversation, he was at least there for the conversation with the friend. You would think they would say, hey, take this cell phone, or let us wire you up. Let us put something in your jacket. Go back over there and try and lure him into a discussion about this. Like that's just the normal course of action of how the authorities work. You go back over there, you're wired up. You say, hey, bro, what? You come up with an excuse on why you're bringing it up. Like, listen, man, this guy, Ronnie Bo, bro, I seen him on a podcast talking about this. Like, what's going on? Are you concerned? Like I heard him say the FBI had come to him and talked to him. Like, bro, what are you going to do, man? Like, and the guy, of course, is going to be like, nah, I'm not worried about it, bro. I already talked to the guy I hired. He already went back to Florida. They ain't going to catch him, everything. That's what they're going to try and do. Then they grab him. They pull him in. They tell him, you're going to fucking prison for a long, long time, or you wear a wire on Jay-Z and get him to talk about it. And that's just how it happens. So I'm wondering to myself, how long ago did the FBI talk to you?
Yeah, did you read his full statement?
Yeah, but I don't remember the whole thing.
Yeah, see, I'm actually thinking from your perspective with regards to this informant has to be somebody who also has ties with Jay-Z. But I was also thinking from the perspective that somebody like you, how the feds work, they plant people in certain situations for certain reasons. So I'm thinking that whoever this confidential source is probably been seeing what has been alleged in many of my interviews and trying to put a scenario together to get himself out of a situation that maybe he got caught up in some type of situation and they want him to tell on Jay-Z, you know what I mean? Or they want him to tell on me. Whatever it is, it seemed like this confidential source is trying to get himself out of a situation. and he has to have some type of inside information for the FBI to be reaching out to me and to continue this investigation. It's like they not giving up on it. They want somebody to come forward and say, yes, this hit happened, the victim admitted to it, or somebody close to Jay-Z admitted to it. And it's like I really don't understand, or I don't know whether this they motive is to incriminate Jay-Z or to incriminate me, because
Right.
it's like the confidential source. If you read the statement, it's like he's basically telling on Jay-Z and his friend Tata.
This is a statement, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I just want to make sure we're talking about two different follow. Because I mean, I read it, but this was a couple days ago, right? So
No,
yeah, maybe I'm
that
missing something.
that's when I filed the statement. I had to file it on myself because the statement was actually confidential. Like it was under seal. So
Okay.
it was not supposed to be revealed because this is a confidential source. So when I filed to defend myself against these allegations, I'm showing uh what I'm defending myself against. And it's like, okay, your confidential source is apparently trying to incriminate Jay-Z, but if I admit to this, then I'm incriminating myself because I wasn't supposed to be in Brooklyn, New York, doing no publicity stuff. I didn't get permission from my probation officer to do this. And that's all they need to send me back to federal prison. And like I said in my original indictment, it was the same thing. Like it was a lot of false allegations that my indictment was based on. And now it's like they're trying to bring more allegations that I want to say that are false, because if I don't say that they're false, then I can go back to federal prison.
Right.
So
How
it's
much
just,
more paper do you have?
well, technically they gave me 5 years of supervised release
Right.
and did over 3 years of that. Now it's November, so September. So I did 39 months on that. So I got like a year and 9 months to go. However, how it go, if they revoke you, they could still, even though I only have a year and 9 months to go, they could still revoke me for 3 years or maybe even 5 years. Like I've seen them take people's street time back and revoke them and send them back. Like if you read my revocation report, the government was initially asking for me to do 2 years. So that's what I will likely have to serve if the judge feed into these allegations that I went to Brooklyn, New York to do a publicity stunt without my probation officer permission and didn't report that I got shot. With all the stress and frustration that come from this situation and all these allegations, I really feel like Jay-Z is trying to silence me. And I want to show the power of God and the power of the people. So that's why I'm giving out my phone number. I'm giving out free books. I'm trying to enlighten the public about people like Jay-Z who are put in place to mislead society, to mislead our culture. So I want people to basically stand with me against Jay-Z and whatever this agenda is. And if they read the book, it's some very valuable information in the book. It's very enlightening. And again, it's sold on Amazon for $100. But the people who contact me directly at my phone number, which is 414-810-9090, I'm gonna give out the information free. Right now I have people literally from all over the world, not just the United States, but I have people from all over the world contacting me, texting me about this book, telling me how inspired they were or enlightened by the book. And I'm trying to be a part of the solution. And the book has enough information to enlighten the right people so that we don't allow ourselves to idolize people like Jay-Z or Diddy and people who do very ignoble things behind the scenes and mislead our youth and our culture. So I'm trying to bring people together under this under a certain movement, and it's laid out in the book, challenging the Illuminati, how we could overcome such oppression. And that's basically it. I feel like I put my life on the line to expose certain things, and I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that book, and I think the world needs to be aware of the information in that book. And again, you don't have to pay $100 for it. You can contact me directly, and I will give it out for free, just to overcome this. Like, I don't know. It's been so much going on, bro. Like, I'm constantly being harassed by the police. I'm getting certain calls and death threats. So I don't know if I'm gonna even make it through the night. But with me putting the information that I put in that book, I feel like I would have lived my purpose. And like, even if I die today, by publishing that book and putting that information out there to the public.
We'll make sure to put the links in the description. We'll put your phone number and your email address in the description box.
Okay, mainly just the phone number. That seemed like it seemed like that's been working more than anything. And I'm actually communicating with everybody who reached out to me. Like, I'm nobody special. I'm as down as earth as they come, and I really want to unite good people because we are really up against a very evil agenda. And as Cat Williams said, this year is everything will be exposed, and it's been exposed. So you can consider Cat Williams a real prophet, because early this year on Club Shay Shay, he told people that this is the year for exposure, and all these dudes, everything they do in the dark will come to light. And my book provides that light. So again, thanks for allowing me to tell my story on your platform, Matthew Cox. I got a lot of love and respect for you, and all the audience, everybody who watched this interview. Please reach out to me and see what I put in that book. It's free.
Hey, you guys, thanks for watching the video. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified of videos just like this. Leave me a comment, share the video because that does help. We're also, please check the description box. We're going to leave Ronnie Bo's cell number in the description box. We're also going to leave the link to the book that's on Amazon. But like he said, if you just contact him, he'll send you a free link for the book. Once again, I appreciate you guys watching. Also, please consider joining my Patreon. It's $10 a month. We put Patreon exclusives content on Patreon. That $10 really does help Colby and I make these videos. I really do appreciate you guys watching. Thank you very much. See ya.